Right here, you're getting almost 3 to 1 to call, so this is like a no-brainer call, I think. And you hold up, so that's good. Like with this 8-3 suited here, I would go all in if they folded to me, and I think it would be very normal. So, basically anytime they fold you and you're in late position, always try to see if it makes sense to push. And, your hand doesn't really matter that much. That's the cool part about it, because the blinds and antes are so large to where if you pick them up ever, you, you'll be making a pretty big profit. Right here with Jack 10 suited, I would consider shoving, and, again, since you've been so tight, I would definitely shove. And, when I say since you've been so tight, if you've been getting a good distribution of cards, like say you've gotten aces and kings a bunch and you just shoved a ton, I think you definitely need to fold in this spot. And if you've been getting very bad hands and you've been folding a lot, I think you can definitely push in this spot. So, what your opponents perceive you're doing is pretty important. And, I know you definitely missed a few pushes here, so I would definitely go after that spot. Right here with the 9-8, again, since you've been so tight, I would definitely go all in here. But you fold again. Queen 9, same thing. I would definitely go all in there again. The blinds went up once again, so you're going to have to push quite a bit more. And you get it in with ace-8 against king-queen. And you hold, so, you've held quite a few times in these, and you've been pretty fortunate at that so far. Hopefully it keeps up. You had to sit out one hand because you were in the big blind. And I believe we're at the final table here, which is always nice. It's always good to be at a final table. And now that we're at the final table, let's take a look at the chip stacks and see what exactly is going on. We have Golfer here in the 1 seat. He only has 2 big blinds. Same thing with Band from Full Tilt. So both these players are going to be looking to bust pretty soon. Everyone else has a pretty decent chip stack, though, and because of that, you're probably going to be able to get away with shoving pretty wide. With this 5-2 here, say Golfer was over here and one of these big stacks was in Golfer's seat, I would definitely shove with 5-2 suited. No one really wants to bust early in the final table, and you can generally take advantage of that pretty well. Right here with ace-4, I think it's probably a bit too bad to push. And also notice that once you get moved tables, your image kind of, I don't want to say it totally goes out the window because you're playing with a few of the same people. However, it definitely gets hurt, and that half the players at the table don't know anything about you now. So that's pretty standard ace-king and ace-queen right there. Right here, if Big Becker folded, you would definitely have to call with the queen 10. And if they had folded around to Big Becker and he went all in, I think you still just have to fold here. It's not really good to be calling off pushes with queen 10. Right here, it costs you 2,000 more to try to bust this player. However, I think it's probably better to go all in and try to isolate Cyclone, because what's going to happen sometimes is you're going to limp and then Cyclone's going to go all in and you're going to give away a free 2,000 chips, which is never good. So I think shoving is definitely the best play here, because you're going to pick up 1,000 free chips right there, which, basically you take this 1,000 and put it here for your call. So that means if you go all in and Cyclone folds, you're free rolling for a 11,000 chip pot. And free rolling an 11,000 chip pot is always very good. And I think you're going to get Cyclone to fold a huge amount of the time. So I think shoving here is definitely very good, because you're probably 40% to win 11,000 chips absolutely for free. So you flop 2 pair. When you flop 2 pair, I think you need to bet pretty small. When you bet 8,000, you kind of tell your opponent, hey, I have something. And you don't really want to let them know you have something. You want to bet like 4,000 or whatever the minimum is. Yeah, 4,000 is the minimum. And hopefully that way he'll shove on top of you. He folds, though, and you pick up that 11,000 chips. Again, right here I would shove if they folded to me. You know, this may not actually be the final table. I'm a little bit confused as to where we're at in the tournament. Actually, I think it is, but whatever. It doesn't really matter that much. We're still going to be shoving around trying to pick up all the money we can. Usually once you get this deep in a tournament, everyone really wants to win, and because of that, you can get away with shoving quite a bit more than you actually should, because everyone's trying to kind of blind off and get deeper and deeper into the game. Right here we have a very easy push with the ace-6, and they all fold. Got a little 3-outer there with the ace-8. It's always nice to peel those. Right here with the 9-5, again, Cyclone's been very tight, and because of that, I think you just have to go all in here. I know he only has 3.5 big blinds behind, but he's shown that he can definitely fold quite a bit. So you do go all in, which I think is very good, and he folds. And notice that, you know, you've been folding these all tournament, then all of a sudden you decide to push them. Just kind of realize that this does work, and that you need to start doing it a bit earlier in the tournament next time. Right here with the queen-7, I'd probably just shove again. Cyclone's shown that he's very tight, and I would just keep going at it. Obviously, I would have got busted there, but, you know, again, I'm trying to pick up all the chips I can. So now we're three-handed, and we only have 6 big blinds. So basically, anytime we get a chance, we're going to be needing to go all in. However, I think 3-2 is a little bit too bad to shove. 10-4 suited right here, though, I think you definitely need to push. This kind of goes back to the whole thing of where you need to make sure you aren't blinding off. And notice that if you take the blinds again, you're going to be down to only 20,000 chips, which is pretty short. And in order to avoid that, you're going to have to push with some weak hands. I think 10-4 suited is definitely good enough to shove. Let's talk about if we're in keep snoozing spot for the future in case we ever get in that situation. If the chip stacks are set up like this, or we have a pretty big chip lead, and then there's someone in the middle, keep snoozing should just be going all in. He doesn't really need to raise to 15,000 chips, because now Big Becker has a pretty easy repush with all of his hands. And if I was Big Becker, I would be shoving quite a bit if keep snoozing keeps raising like this. And what keep snoozing can do is just shove, that way he can never get bluffed. You go all in with ace-5, which I think is good, and you flop 3 of a kind. It's always nice. Right here with ace-6, notice keep snoozing's been raising quite often, and because of that, I think you can get in with ace-6 here. I know it feels a little bit loose, but, you know, we are three-handed, and we are the short stack, so I think you just kind of have to get it in and hope you peel. But again, you fold, so, yeah, don't be scared to take the aggressive route sometimes. You probably don't have very much fold equity, but again, a6 isn't that bad. So right there, Keep Snoozing just picks up a pretty big pot. And now we are basically equal with Big Becker. And because of that, Big Becker is going to be a little bit more aggressive because now he's not really trying to outlast us. He's now trying to kind of keep up with us. Right here with this Jack 5, I'd probably shove it. But you fold again. We had a shot to get second place right there, but we could not hold him off. And now we're back down to being the short guy, so that's not good. Right here with the Jack 3 suited, again, I would just go all in. And I feel like you're missing a lot of pushes on the button. And basically, anytime you're on the button and they fold you, which obviously they fold you, there's no one in between us, you kind of just have to go all in these spots, especially if you have any semblance of a hand. And, you know, Jack 3 isn't very good, but it's something. And you got to keep pushing here to keep up with your chip stack. Otherwise, you're going to blind down and then be forced to get all in with a hand that probably isn't that great. Right here with ace-7, I think we just need to get all in. Big Becker has shown that he can shove quite a bit. And, you know, ace-7 again, it's just not that bad, so I would hop in here. And you do hop in, which is good. And you chop it up, unfortunately. Again, with this 10-2, I would keep on shoving, but you keep folding, and you're forcing yourself to have to get all in eventually. Right here with Queen 10, I would definitely push, and you do. And you get called by Ace 4, and you don't get lucky. So, all in all, I don't think you played bad, that's for sure. I do think you missed quite a few pushes late, which definitely would have increased your expectation. And whenever you do make a lot of pushes, you're going to get called and you're going to bust out more. However, you're also going to get a big chip stack a lot more that'll let you just basically ride it to a victory. So, push more when you're in late position, and, don't be too scared to go broke. So thank you very much for watching, and if you guys have any questions or comments, feel free to let me know.